I can't do 2023, 2024 Sharks again. I can't do it. I just cannot do it.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Western Conference Tuesdays here on the Locked On NHL channel. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And the Sharks continue to just do bad things as they've now lost 8 straight games. So we'll dig into the brutal start for the game, the offense's inability to score at 5-on-5, dig in the numbers, and then look at like when the Sharks actually might get a win. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Okay. Very much this season is process of results. And yes, they just can't score goals at 5-on-5. Like, they just can't score goals at 5-on-5. It's been 3 straight games now where they have not been able to get a 5-on-5 goal. If I'm doing my math correctly, it's hard to win in the NHL when you cannot score 5-on-5. And the thing is like they're doing positive stuff at times, right? We'll dig into the numbers more, but like they had 50% of the shot attempts. They had 40 shot attempts compared to the Kings' 40 shot attempts, very much skewed in favor of the Sharks the second 2 periods when the Kings had a big, kind of a 3-0 lead, and the Sharks crawled back. 1.88 expected goals, 4 and 5-on-5, 13 scoring chances, 9 high danger chances. Like, you're seeing positive things, but how many posts and how many sides of the net and how many, like, the goalie makes a save at the very last second, or the puck just bounces the wrong way. And that's the frustrating part, because I do honestly believe they're playing better than last year. And I'm doing the research right now of how does the first 10 games compared this year compared to last year? Like, what did like the actual numbers, like under the engine numbers, say? But like, and especially this start, like the Kings, this game, they came out the first 10-15 minutes and they were just like the better team. They were just faster. Like anything the Sharks attempted to do, the Kings were just there first. And, good for the Kings. I'm sure they were very glad to be home after, an extensive road trip to start the season. Home opener for the Kings, like a lot of energy, and they capitalized on that energy, right? And they fed off that energy, and they really played well the first 15 minutes. But credit to the Sharks. Like, the Sharks fought back in this game. I mean, they had a ton of power play opportunities, which helps. And going 2 for 6 on the power play helps. But you cannot go an entire game, 3 games now, without scoring a even strength goal. It's like impossible to win that way, and especially with the way the Sharks have been for the past few games before this game, just constantly giving the other team power play opportunities. They did a better job of staying out of the box tonight, but at some point, like, it feels like the dam has to break at some point, and you have to start seeing some even strength points here, because like you're seeing more sustained play in the offensive zone. You're seeing them generate more chances. They are doing like baby steps, positive steps here. Like this is not like some sort of juggernaut team. They're competing, and like how many times last year would this game turned into a 6-1 type of game, right? And credit to the Sharks, like they locked things down. Mackenzie Blackwood was great at the end of the game, or like the last two periods of this game, to give the Sharks a chance. Like it very much felt like if the Sharks gave up 4, this thing was just going to turn into one of those games, or like the Jets game, right? But it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating right now because it's almost like watching your team, if you watch football, your team with a backup quarterback, where it's like everything has to be so perfect for them just to kind of matriculate the ball down the field and score points. That's how it feels watching the Sharks offense right now, where it's just everything has to be so perfect, and like any sort of just mistake or anything like you just know, like, okay, like they're just done right now. Like they're not going to be able to score a goal here. But you saw them a lot of sustained pressure at 5-on-5, and they earned power play opportunities, and they took advantage of those power play opportunities, right? Going 2 for 6. Mikael Granlund scoring 2 goals tonight. Fun debate on the who's the best Sharks player. Mikael Granlund making his claim tonight as being the best Sharks player right now. But you see, especially if the top line, the Granlund, Eklund, Toffoli line, if they are not able to drive play, there's just no other answers on this team right now. And yes, I know they're missing Macklin Celebrini, and Will Smith was held out tonight for developmental reasons. And they're still trying to kind of figure out the back end with, guys like Jack Thompson kind of taking a step up. More on him in a minute. But it's very much, if Toffoli, Eklund, and Granlund aren't kind of setting you up for success, this team just doesn't have answers right now. And and again, you have to. The Dam's gonna, like, at some point they're going to score like a bajillion 5-on-5 goals. Like they cannot just constantly keep doing this, because it's like almost unsustainable in like the negative way. Like you're going to see regression to the mean for this at some point, because there's no way that they can continue to produce these types of, and again, it's not like there's some juggernaut. They're not just creating, a bunch of offense and stuff and not being able to do it. But I mean, this team has scored, they've scored 7 5-on-5 goals this year, with an expected goals for of almost 15. Like their expected goals for is like middle of the pack offensively, and this is at 5-on-5. It's got to turn around at some point. And I know Ryan Warsawski, like he just looks like he's just so frustrated with what's going on, because they just like the process is there. They're just not seeing the results right now. So yeah, it's gonna come. Hang it. I know there's a lot of people who are like, this team's worse. I don't think this team is worse. Like I said, I'm doing the research. I'm going to have like either a segment or whole episode at some point here soon on like comparing. And I think this team, they're doing, the underlying numbers say that this team is better than their record is. I know the old adage, you are what your record is. Yeah, it's so, I'm so frustrated. Like they have to score. Please, somebody score a 5-on-5 goal here. So we'll dig into the numbers of this game and talk about how the Sharks were able to kind of work their way back into this game, talk about the different lines, and then we're going to dig into the schedule here and try to find a win for the Sharks, because they're very close to going over October again. And again, I cannot do 2023, 2024 Sharks again. I just can't do it. Okay. You can't do it. I can't do it. None of us can do it again. Please, please, I can't do it. If you want to get in on daily fantasy sports, but don't want to play a bajillion people, you need to check out Prize Picks. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. And the great thing about it is it's even legal here in California. They have over 30 different states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. All you got to do is just pick more or less on 2 players. So if you think maybe Tyreek Hill with Tua back has a nice weekend, definitely something like that. If you think Slippery Pete is overdue for a goal coming up here, you can pick something like that. So sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't need to win to receive your $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Again, download the app. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5. Again, that code is LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDONNHL. Gets you $50 instantly after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right. Again, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, even when your team is the most frustrating thing, part of your life right now. For your second listen, go check out one of the other great shows here. Of course, you have Locked On Fantasy Hockey. So if you got to tinker with your fantasy team, they got you covered there. Or check out one of the other shows here in the Bay Area. You have Locked On Niners. Plenty of stuff going on with the 49ers, who are immune to just things being normal, I guess, or whatever. Check out Locked On Warriors with basketball back. Great win for the Warriors the other night. You got Locked On A's with, of course, everything that's going on with the A's. Locked On Giants, who have a big offseason ahead of them. So go check out one of those great shows, or whatever show, floats your boat. So you can find all those shows wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, let's dig into the numbers of this game. And again, like the Sharks, the first period was brutal. Shot attempts in favor of the Kings, 21-14, 13-4 scoring chances for, 15-6 shots actually on nets, 8-2. High danger chance. Like the Kings just did whatever they wanted to in the first period, but again, like the Sharks, they earned that first power play opportunity, and from that moment on, you could just the Sharks just kind of chipped away at this thing. You saw, and especially end of the second period, they really kind of brought things back. They earned a power play. I think that the thing that they got 6 power plays, but having 2 of them overlap from the first to second period, and then from the second to third period. I hate those power plays because they're not full, yes, it's a full 2 minutes, but it's your momentum just gets ruined and you have to kind of restart things there. So it's, yes, they had a full power plays there, but it feels like they were shortened power plays because of, just having to stop in the middle of the period. But the Sharks really kind of worked their way back into it. The second period, at 5-on-5, 14-7 shot attempts in favor of the Sharks, 6-2 scoring chances, 4-1 high danger chances. In the third period, it was a little more chaotic at 12-12 shot attempts with 3-7 scoring chances. And the Kings there were very much kind of that counter punch mode. We're going to kind of hang in there. We're going to let you do stuff, and then we're going to try to take advantage. And credit to Mackenzie Blackwood, who kept the Sharks in this game, right? Especially in that third period, Kings had a lot of odd man opportunities or one-on-ones, and Mackenzie Blackwood made some massive, massive saves in that second period to keep the Sharks in this thing. So Looking at the lines, so we didn't have Will Smith tonight, was held out for developmental reasons, and we're going to continue to see that. And I already have seen several of the Will Smith's terrible player articles starting to come out, etc. I'm being very facetious on that, but I have seen the what's wrong with Will Smith, Will Smith's having a terrible start to his career, etc. articles. Like, patience. Anyway, we had Mikael Granlund to fully play 9:04, and this line struggled tonight, and that is, again, this line is so important, especially without Celebrini. This line has to do a lot of the work to kind of set things up for everybody else. 9:04 tonight, 7 to 18 shot attempts, 5 to 12 actual shots, gave up 2 goals. Expected goals for 0.48 to 0.99, 2 to 9 scoring chances, 2 to 6 high danger. Like, this line just had a rough night. They made up for it on the power play opportunities there. But this line just, again, if this line's not going, the Sharks are going to continue to struggle, especially because they don't have much in the way of scoring answers elsewhere. Second line was the second most ice time. Again, the lines are gonna be really weird because Klim Kostin got benched in this game. Like, didn't play after about the middle of the second period. I don't know if he did something. Didn't see anything. Maybe he just we heard from Warsofsky, too many passengers tonight. Maybe Klim Kostin's your passenger, your grade A passenger, whatever, like first class passenger tonight. I don't know. But anyway, Goodrow, Delanger, Grundstrom, 7:46 tonight, 6 to 3 shot attempts, 0 to 2 actual shots on goal, 0 expected goals, 4.21. Again, if that's your second line, right, or at least when it comes to ice time, yeah. Gushin, Wenberg, Zetterlund played 5:13, 5 to 6 shot attempts, 2 to 2 actual shots, 0.28 to 0.41. 2 to 4 scoring chances. I thought Gushin had a pretty solid game. Really nice check against Anders Lee. Andreas Lee or Anders? Anyway, 6'5", the 6'5" cousin to Fabian Zetterlund. Again, Gushin's 5'8", 165 pounds. Lee's 6'5", 205 pounds, and he takes him out. It was nice to see. I did have a penalty, but it was one of those. I think he's basically trying to kind of save a goal. Anyway, Gushin needs to continue to play. Like, he's overdue for a goal here, especially after last game where he got denied. Again, this team right now just cannot get out of its own way scoring. And then all the other lines are really kind of mixed up. Especially with Kostin out. So other kind of numbers and notes to keep an eye on here. Jack Thompson led the way in ice time among defensemen. Granted, Jack Thompson is now the power play 1 quarterback. So, and the Sharks did have 6 power play opportunities, but good to see. And he rewarded the Sharks with 2 primary assists tonight on the power play. So I'm curious to see if he continues, maybe in a game that's not 6 power play opportunities, if he continues to earn a large amount of ice time. Definitely some hit or miss moments from him, but again, he's played, I think this is his fifth NHL game, right? 5th or 6th. So I like what I'm seeing out of Jack Thompson, and I like that he is kind of earning more and more responsibility, I guess is the best way to put it. So again, the defense tonight. So if you're looking at just at Corsi percentage, Mario Ferraro led the way. Corsi percentage at 76%. Next was Jan Ruda, his partner, at 60%. Cody Ceci at 47, Wallman at 46. Then Thrun was at 39, and Jack Thompson was at 36 and that was at 5-on-5 time there. So, yeah, it is. I still like what I've been seeing from Jack Thompson. So, especially for a guy who's 22, right, and has played a handful of games. Mackenzie Blackwood tonight really quickly. In all situations, 27 saves on 30 shots, 3 goals against, expected goals against, 3.55. Kind of saved the Sharks bacon a little bit tonight. 900 save percentage, 312 goals against, 10 for 12 on high danger shots, 6 for 7 on mid danger, 11 on low danger. Just because I'm curious. Big save, Dave. 24 of 26. 294 expected goals against with 2 goals allowed in all situations. So, expected goals against. I know the expected by whom, whatever, but believe me, the Sharks are doing positive, and you have like the way they fought back in this game. And yes, the Kings were up by 3 goals and kind of went into a little bit of a shell there and trying to protect the lead. But you've got to take advantage of your opportunities, and I think the Sharks, you're seeing more and more of that, and I think there's more compete. This is such a talent poor team, especially without Macklin Celebrini. Once Celebrini gets back, I know like he's not the savior right now as an HL kid, but I think once Celebrini gets back and you'll be able to run like 2 real lines that can provide offense, and I think everybody will kind of get slotted a little bit better. Hopefully we'll start to see some more improvements here. So we'll look at the schedule and see if we can find a win for the Sharks so that way they don't go over October. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So again, Tua's back. I think Tyreek Hill goes off this weekend. Do with that what you will. So you can check out all that over at FanDuel.com. All right. The schedule. So again, we don't want to go over October again. As the Sharks remember last year went 11 games before they found their first win against it. When then they won 2 in a row against the Flyers and the Oilers. Simpler times. So the Sharks, their next game is on Saturday against the Vegas Golden Knights. And I think Vegas is getting William Karlsson back. That team is kind of starting to put things together here a little bit. They're finding their off. I mean, they just beat the Kings like 6-1 the other day. I think again, the Sharks will play competitively. That's the hope. And then go from, but I still very much think that's the Sharks going to lose that game. Monday, though, the Sharks do play Utah in Utah. And Utah has had its struggle. Like, great start to the season for Utah, right? But they lost tonight 5-1 to the Avs. They lost 4-0 to the Sens. Beat the Bruins 2-1 in overtime on last Saturday. Lost to the Ducks. Lost to the Devils. Like, this Utah team, and especially with they're missing a bunch of defensemen. I think this is a chance for the Sharks to steal one. They're not going to be favored. Like, the Sharks are not going to be favored in a game. Like, they went all last year without being favored in a game. I wouldn't be surprised if they go all this year without being favored in a game. But this one, I have a feeling, especially because Utah plays the Kings on Saturday, and then same thing, like they're gonna equal rest. The Sharks, and that one's they're both gonna have to travel. It's about Sharks have to travel. We'll have to travel from Vegas. Utah will have to travel from LA back to Utah. I feel like that one's a kind of a winnable one for the Sharks, especially with the way Utah's playing right now, with missing so many key defensemen. That one might be one right there. Then the Sharks do play back-to-back on Tuesday against the Kings. Looking at the Kings schedule, they're going to be well rested. Short trip, so If the Kings start slow, maybe it's a little bit closer, and then Halloween night, Sharks are going to be back home again. So same game back home and they'll be against the Blackhawks that game. That's another one. So if I had to rank them, where do I think the Sharks get their wins? I think Utah is very winnable. I think the Blackhawks game is winnable at home. We also could be starting to enter Celebrini territory there. Maybe. Then I have to go to the Kings game, especially if Sharks can play the way they did the second and third period against the Kings. And I have Vegas, and now watch, they will beat Vegas on Saturday just because sports are weird. The Sharks are going to get some win. Like, they're going to get some wins here. Like, I don't think they're going to be as bad as last year. I don't think they're going to end with as bad of a record as they did last year. And it's so hard, especially when you have so much kind of on, as weird as it sounds, Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini, and with Celebrini being hurt and Will Smith, they're being very careful with him. Like, once those guys, you're kind of counting on that production and you're just not getting that production for different reasons. I think it's going to be tough. The Sharks do also play the Blue Jackets, who are struggling as well, November 5th. So, like, there's going to be opportunities for the Sharks to get some wins here at some point. I think this is a little bit of a tough stretch. I mean, they're all tough right now when you're the Sharks, but going from playing the Stars, playing the Jets, playing the Avs, playing the Kings, and playing the Knights, that's a tough stretch right there. So schedule does ease up here a little bit. So I think they're going to get their first win here the next week. Please, again, we can't have a repeat of last year. So, and I think, again, once Macklin Celebrini gets back there, you will start to see guys kind of slotted in their proper spots here. So, hope is not lost. We knew the Sharks team was going to be, picking it in the top 3 again. It's going to get there. It's going to get better, guys. I promise you, it's going to get better. It can't. The numbers say, the math says it can't continue to be this bad. The math, I'm relying on the math. Again, you've scored 7 even strength goals, and your expected goals for 15. They can't be this bad forever. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back on Monday to break down the Sharks Vegas game, talk about the wagon. Hopefully that is the CUDA. We're working on getting some interviews lined up here too as well. So plenty of good stuff coming. Make sure you're following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter at MyFryHole. Until Monday. Bye, friends.